Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. Talking about Google. And it's a behemoth, folks. It's an engine, a machine that most people have no clue about. They hear Google and it's just an innocuous word. They understand it's a search engine and all that. Yeah, Google it. Remember when we would say Xerox it? Because that was what you did to make a copy? Yeah, Xerox it. Now you say Google it. You don't say search for it. You don't say Bing it. You say Google it. Google has become the authority in searching for things. And I want you to understand what that means. If somebody says, I Googled it, it means I now have the high road on you because I know exactly what it is. I've verified this information. But have they? And the answer is no, they have not. It's just one search engine. And we've proven during the election cycle, we proved that Hillary Clinton is and they'd say, Secretary of State, wonderful mother, wonderful woman, runs a great organization. Hillary Clinton, well, it would never say Hillary Clinton is a crook, a scoundrel, and whatever. That's what Google can do. Google can frame the discussion that it wants to have. It can influence everything that you want. It can tell you you're going to have to search so far back to find information, you'll never find it, or it can completely remove it. That's how good Google is. They can scrub the internet. They could make Barack Obama look like a rock star. And they did. They're all part of this cabal. And that's what's going on, and we still support it. You use the term Google quite often, don't you? Be honest. I ain't getting after you, but you do. I do. I use the search engine all the time. I don't want to, but I'm looking for articles. I'm not looking for necessarily bad stuff. I'm looking for the truth. But there are times where, you know what, I need to have another search engine that'll go find the stuff I'm looking for. There was a speech that Obama gave where he talked about the presidency. He was going to have to give up his life. And for the life of me, I cannot find that on Google or YouTube. And I've seen it. You can't find it. I searched on Barack Obama. Michelle Obama was with him in the interview. I've searched in every way I know how. I've talked to librarians and said, is there something I'm missing? And we can't locate it. So Google can control that. They can determine, no, you're never going to see that again. Not through us. Now, somebody else may have it. If you do, give a brother a shout, because I'd love to have that. So they control you. They control the flow of money through AdSense. AdSense is a big piece of how we get paid. People say to me all the time, Kevin, we hate all this stuff going on with your website. And I go, well, then pay me. I'd love to stop using Google. But we get these fractional pennies on AdSense. And as I mentioned earlier, we now have the same relationship with Facebook because they're now dominating that. You have to render your news in a certain format, and then Facebook will pay you for articles at a certain CPM rate, and those rates are starting to drop. I told my buddies, Kevin, they're getting $8 CPMs, which is a payment amount per whatever number of clicks, and that's dropped down to $6. It's dropped down to $5. It's dropped down to $4. Now ours are in the $3 range. So in a short span of a year, you're getting half of what you used to get. Now you could say, oh, well, Kevin, it's oversaturated or whatever. No, it isn't. It's Zuckerberg saying, I control it. I can pay you whatever I want. Google can do the same thing. Guys, we're talking about fractional pennies that are moving billions and trillions of dollars of merchandise. And Google and Facebook and people like them are making the bulk of the money. These technologists are running your lives, and they're and worse than that, as they get enriched, their crazy lame brain millennial ideas come into fruition. And by the way, I'm not talking about just millennials. I'm only using Sergey Brin and Zuckerberg, but it's the lame brain billionaires who get so much money they lose their minds. And that's what's happening. So James Damore wrote a manifesto within Google defending his viewpoint of diversity. It was a fact-based approach to this alleged gender gap in tech. And so he gets fired because he's going, what gender gap are you talking about? There's no gender gap in tech. If there's a gender gap, I would say, okay, there's a gender gap in nursing. Why aren't there more nurses, male nurses? There are some now. I don't know how many. But here's what I will tell you. Nursing is a great career. Pays the bills. Beautiful. I've got, 4 or 5 friends who are nurses. A couple of them guys, most of them are females. It was a female-dominated business. And doctors were a male-dominated. I know a lot more female doctors. Okay? So what happens is guys went, you know what? Nursing's not just a female career. I'll become a nurse. I know Meet the Fockers made it a joke to have, the Gaylord Fokker as the nurse in the movie, played by Ben, what's his face. But the point of the matter is men did become nurses. They didn't overtake the career, but they started doing the career. Women became doctors. Women started becoming more, participating more in STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and math. And we started having more of them. But it isn't anybody keeping their thumb down. No, women weren't saying, well, yeah, why you want to be a nurse, Mr. Man? They said, oh, you're qualified. We need nurses. Boom, get in it, get it done. That's how things change. And so this idea, there are gender gaps all over. There are race gaps all over. Grambling University is overrun with black students. And it has a handful of whites. And you could make the case, well, Kevin, we want the black students to have their own experience. Okay, then you have to ban all whites. Because if you don't, then aren't you being discriminatory? If you're 98% black and 2% other, aren't you discriminatory? If a school's 98% white, their people are up in arms. I've asked this question of countries. You have countries all over the world who are practically monolithically African, monolithically some South American, or whatever. I'm talking about 90 to 98% one ethnic group, and nobody complains. But let Sweden not have the requisite number of black folks or Hispanics or whatever, and people are up in arms. And in America, it's to the point of ridiculous. And so, you know what Sergey Brin of Google says when he fired James Damore? Stop talking about things where we're setting the narrative. We're setting the narrative that women are treated unfairly in this country. You'd be hard-pressed to find me a woman that can sit here and argue with me about what she's missed out on because she's a woman. And unless she wants to tell me I didn't get a track scholarship on the boys track team at my college or university, I'd say, well, you did miss out on that. But it was because of your ability. It is any more than a person who's artistic and couldn't work their way out of a bubble if you gave them pie. That's an engineering joke. But you want them to become the next Einstein.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.